Hello and welcome to From Impossible to Inevitable. This is the 55th episode, and I am so grateful that you are joining me here today. I am your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you for tuning in for our second year of this podcast. It's so exciting that we are embarking on the second year. Today, I want to bring up something that actually happened last year. And I guess it's just taken me this long to have it really sink in as an aha moment for me. So, I have mentioned before my awesome cousins that moved out to the country and have a homestead, and they are living this incredible farm life, and they have so many skills and they know so many things about living a self-sustained life and being self-reliant than I know. They know so much. And I have often talked to them about how much I admire them just living this incredible life that I can barely fathom in my suburban experience. And they were living in a suburban, life before they made this move. And my cousin told me once, he said, look, I appreciate your admiration. However, we moved out here and we didn't know this stuff either. We moved out here, we jumped in, and we kind of learned what we needed to learn when we needed to learn it. And we've just figured it out along the way. And I was talking to Jake about this the other night, and just like, that's I don't know, for whatever reason in my head, I was like, oh, you know, you got a box of knowledge on your porch one day, and all of a sudden you can move out into the country and live a self-reliant life. And there you go. Lucky you. I don't know what I was thinking in my head, but I didn't put it together that they just decided on what they were going to do and they went for it and learned what they needed to learn as they needed to learn it. And Jake said to me, well, yeah, that's kind of how we do everything. I mean, to a degree, we try to do our research, we try to, know as much as we can before we do the thing. And we are never going to learn all the things before we start anything, because we need the the applied experience in order to show us what we need to learn in the first place. Does that make sense? We need to do the thing before we can even know what it is that we don't know that we need to learn. And Jake just pointed out to me some instances in my life where I've done that exact thing. I've jumped in knowing as much as I can, as much as I can foresee, and then just kind of figuring it out along the way. This podcast has been one of them. I remember it was probably December of 2022. Jake and I went out to eat. I think the girls were with grandparents or something like that. We went out to eat, just the two of us, and we talked about podcasting. And he has a podcast, so he has had more experience, obviously, than I did, because I hadn't started this yet. And so he was kind of telling me some things that he knew and that he did and this and that. However, his podcast didn't ever have a YouTube component to it like mine does. So even though he kind of gave me a bit of a head start on things that I needed to know and things that I needed to learn, and in teaching me the programs and things like that, he didn't ever record the video, and he never had to publish the video, and he didn't do that. And so I recorded my very first podcast not knowing exactly what the next steps were. Sure, I knew a little bit. I knew to go to YouTube and to like publish it, but I'd never gone through the process before. And so I did figure that out along the way. And there are so many things that we just do. Another instance that comes to mind is I remember this was several years ago. We were at the zoo and we saw a family with brand new little triplets. They were tiny and they were so cute. You know, they had two in a car seat and somebody was carrying the third. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. How do you do this? They're like, you just do. Like, you just do. You figure it out. Like, you are more capable than you give yourself credit for. Because when you're in that situation that you have to figure something out, you have to learn how to do it, even if you start out by doing it poorly, or you do it and then you realize that you've made some critical mistakes and so you have to redo it, or whatever the case is, you figure it out. You do it. I have one of my design friends who has felt like she does this whole thing and this whole process, and she fixes files and she does all of these updates and things. And then she finally feels, okay, they're perfect. They're perfect. Finally, everything's perfect. And then she feels like she feels frustrated because it's like, oh no, it was just perfect and now it's not perfect. And okay. And I remind her, this is part of the process. You wouldn't even know you wanted your Illustrator files to look like that without all the work that you put into it. You wouldn't even know what you wanted it to be without everything that led up to this. And that's just how it works. And sometimes it's really frustrating. Yes, I get frustrated too. When I recorded my very, very, very first podcast, I did so with so much energy and so much excitement and no sound. I was so mad and so frustrated. I remember the girls were eating dinner and I was just like, I can't right now. I cannot. I have to go take a shower and sit there and just cry because I am so sad that I put all this effort and this energy and all of this into recording this podcast and now it has no audio. I felt so defeated. And Jake was like, well, did you look at the little bar that shows you if you've got, sound going in? And I was like, I didn't even know to look for that. I didn't even know the microphone had an on-off switch. That was the dumbest thing. I was using a microphone at the time. It was so dumb to me. Like, why does it have an on-off switch? Why? Okay. Didn't know. I didn't know. But now you best believe I look at the little bar that shows me that the audio is going in. I have never gone through an episode without looking at that little bar, without checking the audio from the beginning. I didn't know it was something I had to look for. Like, it just didn't cross my mind. It crossed my mind that I was recording, I could see myself, so obviously I could hear myself. Not true. Okay, noted. We got it. Moving on. So that is frustrating. And you learn from it. You become better for it. You keep going. So I wanted to present that to you today because it's a brand new year and maybe there are things you want to try. Maybe there are things that have been on your to-do list for a long time and you don't know how to do it. You don't know how to approach it. You don't know how to start. What I would say is give yourself a very specific amount of time. Maybe it's an hour, 2 hours, a day, whatever it is, depending on whatever you wanted, whatever you're going for. Give yourself a specific amount of time to find out as much as you can, answer as many questions as you can come up with in the time, knowing that you're not going to know everything, knowing that you don't even know all of the questions to ask yet, and trusting that you'll be able to figure it out. because that's how we do everything. Nobody knows how to do anything at the beginning. You start with some information, you go from there, you figure out that you need more information, you get that information, you keep going, you figure out you need more information, you keep going. That's growth. That's development. That's all part of it. So whatever it is you want to do, don't hold yourself back. You have to jump in because there's no other way to do it. You just have to jump in. You can find out as much as you can and then just go for it. Okay? Believe in yourself. Believe that you are capable. Believe that you will figure it out because you have up to this point. You've figured it out up till now, and you will continue doing so. So you might as well figure it out on something that's important to you and close to your heart. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I look forward to being with you this year. Bye for now.